once you get into the video, just hit the bell for I guess any other videos so you can get recommended or just notified. And once you get into the video, Larry Bird. Why they do him like that? They clowned him because they said he was old. But you already know that's a big mistake. Let's get into it. I'll turn off his music right now. All right, let's get it.
Called out by some young college superstars for being old and washed up.
And I was like, Larry, your back is already hurting, man. You need to take it easy.
Hey, Larry, you ain't hit a jumper since '84.
And one last time, Larry Bird had to prove that even at his advanced age, there's a big difference between being a good player and being the greatest of all time.
Larry Bird, at this point in his career, is now squeezing to the end. It's a ceaseless struggle to get healthy enough to play.
Larry Bird did not play the final 7 games of the season as he decided to sit out and see if he could get his back ready for the playoffs. His back was day to day, and no one knew if he would be able to play in the series.
I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. I don't know how I'm going to feel Thursday or Friday. It's just wait and see. It's a game that we're playing right now, and hopefully I'll be prepared to play every game.
I remember walking in the locker room, and I saw Larry before the game, and I said, how you feeling? I'm okay, I guess. Well, he wasn't okay. Guy could barely put his pants on.
He spent the night at the hospital in traction, so he had to be in just unbelievable pain.
I can remember when I first came in that in the league, Artis Gilmore told me one time, he played for Chicago, he said, if you expect to play a long time in this league, you better quit mopping up the floor. And I thought, well, he's crazy, because that's what basketball is all about, going after the loose balls. But getting a little bit older now and feeling the bangs and the bumps and the bruises and all that, I can see where he's coming from, but I can't change my style of play. I got to play like that every night, because if you go down and get one loose ball that's on the ground, that could be the turning point of the game, and it has been in some instances.
Marv, the mood of the Celtics could be described as confident. In fact, this is the 10th deciding.
Honestly, Larry Bird did what he could in the NBA, and that's an understatement. But his style of play really took some years off from his career. But like, championships, you got some MVPs. He's still in a lot. There's no question. He's going to make the Hall of Fame. I don't even know what year it was that where it's like, okay, he's going to make the Hall of Fame for sure, but I'm pretty sure that was early, probably like in his first or second championship. You could tell that he was going to make the Hall of Fame, maybe even before that. But yeah, Larry Bird set the foundation and set the tone for his team, and his mentality is why his team was so good, and it was warranted. Like he like, honestly, the way he plays, the mentality he has, the grit he has was necessary. You might think he could have played, he could have saved his body for later and had a long career, but it's like he was so selfless. He's like, I'm gonna put my body on the line for the team. I'm not gonna think about my career as a long-term situation. I'm really gonna think about the now and get the dub right now. So yeah, that's Larry Bird for you. It's like two different sides of the game. Like you have LeBron has more championships, but has the longevities there and stuff. But it's like those are two sides of it. Someone that dies for the ball at every chance, and you have someone that's conserving their body. It's like, what play style do you go with? What is more effective? Larry Bird might have been more efficient because he had less years and he got 3. LeBron has like, I don't even know. He started in 2003, like 22 years on his belt. So yeah, I know I was talking for a while, but that's I have to get that off because it's like there's two sides of it. But what do you guys think? What's the better style of play? If you're watching this video, you're probably gonna say Larry Bird. If you clicked on this video. But let me know. What do you think is the best thing, like all around, for your legacy? What's the best way of going about things when it comes to approaching the game? I feel like Larry Bird did everything he could, to be honest. Like, even with his ability and his athletic ability and his skill, all that put together, like, he did everything he could do, and I don't think there's anything else to do. Maybe he could have won 1 or 2 championships. You never know. But the competition is always good in the NBA. You never know what could have happened. So, you know what I'm saying? So, he did what he could.
Game of a playoff series Larry Bird has been involved in. By the way, the condition of his lower back injury remains the same, expecting to play about 40 minutes through pain today.
And it has come down to the 5th and deciding game between the Celtics and the Pacers. Bird off balance. 6 points for Larry Bird.
Bird putting his shoulder down that time, actually trying to create off the dribble, which is unusual with the bad back that he has.
Bird in the open court.
That looks crazy.
Pacers down court in a hurry. Larry Bird has some words right in the face of Chuck Person as Person called for the timeout.
As Larry Bird carried the Celtics to a lead in the first half, while already in excruciating back pain. To make matters even worse, with 4 minutes to go in the second quarter, Larry Bird took one of the nastiest falls of his career.
Right now, Larry Bird with 12, and the Celtics lead by 7. 4.5 remaining in this first half. Bird had it knocked away by Sadler. Powers on the recovery. Bird is hurt. Bird is down, and he's hurt.
As Bird goes after the loose ball to try to save it, he does in fact get it, keeps it in play, but he paid for it, struggling right now to get up.
It was a thud when he hit that floor. You heard that boom. Yeah. The breath went out of that building because they thought that, that was it.
What went through my mind, just hope it wasn't anything too serious. Obviously, if there was something wrong with me, anytime you see Larry Bird walks off the court, something seriously got to be wrong.
Larry Bird's face hit the floor so hard that he knocked himself unconscious for a few seconds. He left the game with a concussion and had a broken bone in his face. And with the Celtics leader out of the game, Chuck Person and the Indiana Pacers smelled blood.
Don't think the fact that Larry Bird is in the locker room right now isn't helping the Indiana Pacers pick up their level of intensity. They smell it right now. They know the leader is not on the floor. Someone needs to step up now for Boston and take over in Larry Bird's absence.
And Chuck Person with 20 points. The first time this afternoon the Pacers have had a lead.
Well, you're right. Chuck Person was a real force, and there was a lot of back and forth going on.
Person for 3. Yes! Looks straight away.
And Larry bangs his head on the floor.
I know.
Bang, boom. Has to leave the game. It looks like the ship's going to sink, and we're going to go home in the first round.
Person from downtown! What a shot by Chuck Person! And he gets the treatment from the crowd as he reacted. Indiana with a 3-point lead.
And the cameras are on Larry emerging from the locker room, coming down the corridor. The cavalry is arriving. The crowd sees him. They go berserk.
And here comes Larry Bird. And Michael Williams is covered by Robert Powell.
I got the sense the Pacers were stunned to see him there, and that they thought, holy what's going to happen now?
Throughout this timeout, they have been standing and cheering since Larry Bird made his way from underneath the tunnel from the Boston locker room.
It is one of the, in the Bird lore, it is one of the top 5 incidents that he did that might have been the last great moment.
He went out with 4:23 remaining in the second after taking the fall, and he is back in the ball game. Reggie Miller's shot rebounded by Bird, who whips it down to Lewis.
I've never met an athlete that would play with pain the way he does, and an athlete that's so highly self-motivated as Larry Bird.
Self-motivated. That's definitely the word, man. Self-motivated. Well, yeah. 2 words, but yeah, because like the only other player I've seen and I grew up watching was Kobe. Kobe is another player that was self-motivated, that played through pain. And I don't know if he was really a guy that studied Larry Bird. I think he did. I think we watched one of those videos where Kobe was talking about Larry Bird. And he was trying to figure out why he was so good, because he found him slow. Like he didn't move as fast as the other players. But just based off of that, I know he was really watching his game. He was trying to figure it out. He was even asking questions because he studies the game. But you could tell, like, what Larry Bird did in his career, his grit, his will to win, to play through pain, all of that. Kobe probably studied that, and then what Larry Bird does transcends the game, because players years later can follow that and like go through it. It's not for everybody. It's not for the weak, but these are the toughest players of all time. Kobe Bryant and Larry Bird. Let me know in the comments if you agree, but I think those 2 are the toughest players of all time, honestly. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. That's my opinion, and I feel like Larry Bird laid out the foundation for players like Kobe Bryant to do that, and then he made it cool to really put your body out there, even though like he had to go through it later on, but he has a career to show for it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Indiana wants to talk it over.
People's pain threshold are different. Some guys will dislocate a finger and go ahead and play with it. Some guys can dislocate a finger and be out 6 weeks. I think it's just something within your body that some guys have a good pain threshold and some don't. But to me, I was just so glad I got the NBA and made it. I didn't want some little injury messing up my whole season, so I tried to play through it.
Bird with the step on his left.
When Larry returned, the Celtics went from losing by 3 points to winning by 13 points in a matter of minutes.
But they come right back at you.
Bird on the reverse, and it counts.
He's so nice, and he's talking his stuff.
I think it's really a mental thing that, Larry's on the court now. Hey, now we got our leader back. We got a big option here we can go to down the stretch during the game, and it's just a big emotional lift when he's on the court too.
3-point play for Bird. Bird ahead of the field. And it's the Celtics by 13.
The fans at that point wouldn't let the team lose because of what Larry was doing.
Sanders at 6'6", giving away 3 inches to Bird, who's trying to post him off through the foul.
Bird, who does the bulk of the work on the defensive boards, is always looking down the floor and just gets it out over the top of Reggie Miller. And he he's going to lead this group with a little bit of emotion, and then also by taking it strong to the basket, showing them how it's to be done.
Through all of the pain and injuries, Larry Bird came back and led this Celtics team to a victory, proving that there's a big difference between being a good player and being the greatest of all time, because today's players just aren't built like they used to be.
Mike, rarely do you see this
Not at all.
kind of emotion
Not at all.
from Larry Bird.
No, but Larry Bird is answering the challenge put forth to him by Chuck Person and the Indiana Pacers.
Right now, load management? May I add? Shoot, crazy. Players are injured, right? Or injury prone, and they play every other game. Joel Embiid, to name a few. You know what I'm saying? Like, players won't show up to a game, and fans will pay their hard-earned money to go and see them. And they make a last-minute decision. Oh, we're not going to play him. Well, you're not going to play him. So they're going to lose out on seeing their best player or their favorite player play because they want to go off of load management. But you got players like Larry Bird that has back injuries and got injured in the game. He already has back injuries, and he injured it even more. Went into the back, came back and cooked. They were losing by 3 up to 13. Shoot, Larry Bird is definitely one of those players that really goes hard and doesn't think about anything else. He's just out there doing what he got to do to get the win, and that's what players should be following nowadays. And it's the best basketball to watch, the most entertaining, because it motivates you in your life to get through any trials and tribulations, and not just like if there's something's hard and something is really trying to get in the way of you succeeding, you just gotta sit it out. No, you're gonna really push through that. Like we need players like that to like show everybody that like they're there to win, they want to be there, and they respect the game through and through.
And he's letting it all hang out today.
I'm talking about today's player. When you look at Larry in that game, and Bob Hill says he's coming back and be ready for him, would today's player come back in a game like that? Now with load management, where agents and managers are saying you got to take care of your body and your product. And it's true. You know, I mean, your body is your livelihood.
Yeah.
You know, I remember Jordan playing with 104-degree temperature.
Yeah.
A courageous, classic performance by the flu-ridden Michael Jordan.
Larry, we just talked about that game, you know. With
Isaiah Thomas against the Lakers in 88, 25-point period on a bad leg.
He's got to be hurting and limping. Thomas goes up, and Isaiah Thomas having an incredible period.
Yeah, so it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm being unfair, but that just isn't there anymore.
Boston 110, Indiana 96. 4 minutes gone by in the fourth. Bird again ends up on the floor, and he was pushed by Person.
Person stepping up with the blind screen right in the area that Larry Bird doesn't need it, in the middle of the back.
I think 4 or 5 years you'll think back about what he did, or you just, you know, you go that. I think it's one of those things that as the years go by, it'll become bigger and bigger and bigger.
And it is all over. The Boston Celtics, in a terrific series, have defeated the Indiana Pacers. They won it in 5 to advance to the second round.
You know, I already had a lot of respect for Larry Bird, but the way he played today, you know, it's just like the stuff you tell your kids about. And I told him at the end of the game, I've never seen anything like that.
Truly amazing, and you know, it's courageous and all those other things. And he's the leader. He is the leader of the Celtics, and he will be until he retires.
I've known Chuck for a while, and we've always had run-ins, but it always seems like I get the last word.
Because after that 1992 season, after so many years of giving his blood, sweat, and tears to the game of basketball, Larry Bird's body had completely betrayed him, and no one knew it yet, but he had played his last game in the NBA.
Had back problems. It just gets to the point where you just couldn't play. I mean, you couldn't think, couldn't move, couldn't run. You know, if you can't feel your feet, it's hard to run.
But just before he was about to announce his retirement, a longtime rival asked him to lace up his sneakers one last time. But this time, it would be on the same team in what many people have called the greatest team ever assembled, the 1992 Dream Team.
Larry was on the fence because of his back, so I said, man, LB, you gotta play, man. You gotta play. This is our last chance to be together. He said, Magic, my back is hurting. I said, Larry, you don't have to play 30 minutes a game. You can just play 10 minutes a game. He said, all right, I'll play. I said, all I want to do is come down and do a no-look pass to you, and you shoot a three-pointer. We both going to be very happy.
My Magic that time making the defensive rotation, forcing him to put it on the floor. Bird for three. Yes! His Bird from downtown.
I just want to say this is just a small step in what our goal really is, to get to Barcelona, win the gold medal, and bring it back where it's supposed to be.
Talk about it, man.
What may well be the best basketball team ever assembled. And here they are, moments away from their international debut. In the white uniform, Magic Johnson controls the tip. Here's Larry Bird backing in, goes to the fadeaway. A come-from-behind effort against Canada. Bird for three. Larry Bird hitting his second from downtown. He has 10 points. In the second half, Bird is wide open.
And even on the brink of retirement, Larry Bird still had a little something left in the tank.
The crowd start cheering. Larry, Larry, Larry.
To the entrance of Larry Bird, a standing ovation.
Get open look in transition.
Magic with the pass that misfired. Jordan with the
That's crazy.
save. Here's Bird. Yes.
And you just knew that Larry Bird was not going to miss that shot after the great save by Michael Jordan.
I'm going to send a message around the world today that y'all can give it up. You foreigners can give it up.
The final score, the United States 136 and Cuba 57.
And in the gold medal game, the Dream Team beat Croatia, and there was no doubt anywhere in the world who was the greatest team ever assembled.
They won their games by an average margin of 40-plus points. A conclusion to their 2 weeks in Barcelona. This group may well be the greatest team ever assembled in the history of team sports.
However, as our old legends age out of the game, there will always be some newcomers to come challenge the throne. And in 1992, that newcomer was Rodney Rogers.
And the shot comes up. Oh, my goodness! Rodney Rogers!
That may be the best I've seen all season. You brought up Rodney Rogers, and when I was asked about
Rodney Rogers. Okay, in the comments right now, whoever's watching this, do you guys want me to react to Rodney Rogers next video? Because just based off of that dunk, like, that was absolutely disgusting. Let me know in the comments. Let me know, because I don't even know who this guy is. But that putback was disgusting, like absolutely disgusting. Like, oh my gosh.
Zion. I said, for some reason, I see a little bit of Rodney Rogers in Zion Williamson. They were big, athletic guys who were mobile. Do you see Rodney Rogers in Zion?
I do see Rodney Rogers. It makes so much sense now that you said it like that. But Rodney Rogers could shoot better. I had never seen a guy like that strong. I mean, I knew what Country Strong was after I played against him and Corliss Williamson, those guys like that, I mean, maybe never lifted a weight, but could push a car out the way if they needed to. And so with him, I definitely think Rodney Rogers would be a great comparison for that.
And when Rodney Rogers was selected as one of the 8 best college players in 1992 to go scrimmage against the Dream Team, Larry Bird gave Rodney Rogers his welcome to the league moment.
But you missed Bird by a couple of years, I think, didn't you?
I missed him by 1 year, but I got to play against him in the Dream Team and to be able to practice with him, see how he worked out, see how he shot, see the junk that he talked constantly. The best was my man Rodney Rogers, strong, fast, quick, athletic, and Bird just set him up in the corner. Someone drives to the corner, stock, and pass out the Bird, and here you see Rodney Rogers take a full sprint. And I'm talking about, you know how Zion blocked that shot a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
That's where where Rodney Rogers came from. Except, unlike the young kid that shot the shot, in the middle of him being in the midair, Bird says, "Welcome to the parachute club, rookie," and watches him go by him, shoots the ball, and kept walking down, shaking his head like, these dumb youngsters, they'll never get it.
And according to some of the guys that played, Larry Bird and the Dream Team basically...
That's crazy. Picture that. That play you just saw with Zion catapulting and try to block it. Imagine Rodney Rogers try to close out on Larry Bird. Imagine how far he probably fell out of bounds. That probably almost tear his Achilles landing from that. That's crazy. Based off of how athletic he was, that must have looked crazy. He must have made him look like a fool. Honestly.
Beat these college youngsters by 100 points. But why was Larry Bird so hell-bent on embarrassing the young Rodney Rogers? Because one day earlier, Rodney Rogers said something that pissed Larry Bird off, and a friendly scrimmage turned into a serious lesson in respecting your elders.
You know, when we probably played against him in the Dream Team, you know, that whole situation was amazing.
It was 8 of...
All right, thank you. Have a great night, too. Thanks, Bridget.
Us. It was myself, Bobby Hurley, Allen Houston, Chris Webber, Rodney Rogers, Eric Montrose.
Shout out Rodney Rogers, man. Shout out to OG.
Yeah. And Grant Hill was on that squad.
And I kept calling us the crash test dummies. And they want us to come sit in the car and run up against the wall and see how hard it hurts to play against these guys.
So we get to La Jolla, San Diego, and we check into the Marriott, and we're walking in the corridor, and we see this tall white guy coming down the hall. And I'm like, damn, that looked like Larry Bird. So Larry Bird coming down the hallway, me and Chris Webber, and Larry Bird, you don't realize how big Larry Bird is until you stand up close to Larry Bird. Larry Bird, legit 6'10". So he walked by us and he says, "Y'all those college guys?" And we was like, yeah, we the college guys. And he looked at us and he said, "Get some fucking rest. It's going to be a long week," and walked off. And we was like, what the hell?
And we get back to the hotel, and I remember Bird getting out the elevators like, "See y'all tomorrow, young fellas. See y'all tomorrow." And it wasn't like a looking forward to seeing y'all tomorrow. It was like, no, it was like a see y'all tomorrow. Right?
And I remember getting off the plane, and I see a sign. It says Mr. Bird and Mr. Webber.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, no way. And so I get in the car, and it's Larry fucking Bird. And I shake his hand. I'm quiet, you know. And when we get out, he doesn't say much. But when we get out, he goes, "Hope you get your sleep tonight, because I'm going to bust your ass tomorrow."
Yes.
And I didn't know what to say, but I knew this is a moment you have to say something. And I was like, "Larry, your back is already hurting, man. You need to take it easy." And then I run to the room and I call my father. I'm like, "Dad, Larry Bird was just talking shit to me."
So the next morning we get up and we go to practice, and the Dream Team is practicing. They're finishing up their practice. And then they say, "All right, get loose and stretch out." We're like, "Okay, we playing?" They're like, yeah, we're going to play next. It's the starting five, I think, is myself, Chris Webber, Rodney Rogers, Bobby Hurley, and Allen Houston.
Mm-hmm. So we're practicing. We start finding the rhythm. Penny's pinning people's on the glass. C Webb's doing his thing. And I hit a couple threes. And next thing you know, like the clock stops. And we look up and like, we up.
Yeah. Right.
And we're up.
Like the first 15 minutes, we kicking their ass. we running them all out. Bobby Hurley in the lane, killing John Stockton.
I did have some success penetrating and collapsing the defense, and our energy, our excitement to play, all those things played in our favor. You know, what we were doing that day, you know, they couldn't stop it. It felt tremendous.
I don't know if there was ever a more pure or better basketball day for myself or for any of those guys, because we were in a dream playing against our heroes, and we did beat them that first practice.
I don't know if there's highlights for this. I mean, I see a couple of highlights as they're talking, but I need to see some highlights. The younger team beating the Dream Team, because I heard about this. I watched the Dream Team documentary, and they were talking about how Chris Webber, all these guys. Was it? I don't know if it was Grant Hill on the team too. Did he mention Grant Hill? But yeah, a couple of other players, top players at the time, great players in the NBA, had a great career, but they ended up beating the Dream Team. I just want to see those highlights. I want to do a reaction on that, because that would be a great video. But it seems like they didn't have a lot of footage on that. They're trying to like suppress the footage. I don't even think they won't even want to tell anybody that the Dream Team lost to a younger team. But I think they played them a couple times, and then the Dream Team ended up killing them the last time they played. So yeah. But that'll be a great video.
Something happened. We're sitting there, and we get back to the hotel. Rodney Rogers says something to, it's a group of them. It's Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and everybody's shooting the shit. And Rodney Rogers said, "Hey, Larry, you ain't hit a jumper since '84. And we ain't think none of it. The next day we came in, that's when the thing came out that Chuck Daly let us win.
There are kids who believe in Santa Claus too, and the Easter Bunny, and now that they've grown up, I hate to burst their bubble, but it was a game thrown.
It was a game thrown?
Chuck threw the game. If you look how he subbed guys in, not picking up, not making any adjustments, he knew what he was doing.
I love Coach K. That's come on, man. That's BS. They had Chris Mullin, a better shooter than anyone that we had. We really beat him that day. But the next day, it's been the only time in my life I've been in a scrimmage and my team did not score in the whole quarter.
Man, the next day it was different. It was different that day. Yeah, you could tell that, you know, they were like, "Come on now, we're gonna let y'all know who we really are."
We showed them why we are who we are. We pretty much beat them by 100.
They couldn't score.
They were smacking the floor, talking shit to us like it was a championship game.
Magic Johnson fed Larry Bird the ball probably about 8 times in a row down court. Larry Bird got the ball on Rodney Rogers, and every time he was about to make a move, he told him what he was going to do. One dribble, pull up, going left, off glass. One dribble, going right, spin, shot, bucket.
That has to be the most disrespectful thing you could do in the game of basketball, to tell the guy, I'm gonna jab step, one dribble to the right, pull up in your face and shoot it, and then do it. It's like trash talking and then backing it up all in one sequence. It's like you can't say anything about it. He was trash talking you, and then did what he told you he was gonna do. It's the moment where you just can't do anything about it. At that moment, you just have to go back and get your get back. To be honest, that's all you have to do at that moment. It's nothing else you could do.
He scored 9 times or 8 times in a row. Left the court to go lay down because he couldn't sit on the bench. Right, he had to lay down because of his back. And said, "Young fella, look like 84, huh?"
Last time he made it.
So I'm sitting there and I'm like, wow. I said, so that's They kicked our ass for the rest of the week. And
it said the rest of the week, guys. They ain't play with you.
Nah, they ain't play with us the rest of the week. And this one I was like, this is a different breed.
Larry Bird retired after that season, and though many players have been compared to Larry Bird since he retired, nobody has been able to capture the one-of-a-kind magic that created the nickname Larry Legend.
I would like to play it a little bit longer, maybe a year or two more, but there's just no way possible I was going to be able to do that. So today I'm retiring, and I knew this day was going to come sometime, and I sort of prepared myself, but once you sign the papers and say you're retired, or once you get up here in front of these people, it's a little bit different.
The Larry Bird retirement ceremony, they had it on a night when there was no game. That's how special, that's how popular, that's how great Larry Bird is. They filled the Boston Garden, and you couldn't get a ticket. Magic comes out, and it was just great, and he had the Celtic t-shirt on underneath, and the speech that Magic gave.
Larry Bird said that there would be another Larry Bird one day. And Larry, there will never, ever, ever be another Larry Bird.
To have all the fans come back to pay tribute and to say thank you. There was nothing like that on earth.
Tonight, my basketball career is officially over, and I had a blast. So tonight I leave. I leave basketball forever. I leave a game that I loved. Sorry, but I'm gone. I'm history. I dedicated my life to basketball, and I dedicated my life to the Boston Celtics. So, I say good night, Boston, and may God bless each and every one of you. Good night.
That was a great video. That was actually one of the best videos I've seen. Probably maybe the best video I've seen in regarding Larry Bird. Yeah, it took everything. The dream team, like in the playoffs, but like the tail end of his career. But you could still see he was still Larry Bird. It's just the back injuries. If he didn't have the back injuries, he'd probably be putting up the same numbers. But he was still averaging around 20. But he could still do what he could do just on limited minutes. Yeah, because just he has to go to the bench and lie down. he can't even sit. So yeah, wow, this is a very good video. Honestly, I'm great. I'm happy that I found this video. I'm gonna end off the stream. This is a good stream. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're on Twitch, follow me. Subscribe to me, and yeah. And I'm gonna end off with a prayer. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Whoever's watching this video, bless them from the crown of their heads to the soles of their feet. Allow them to be better individuals all around. Allow them to follow you and lean on you and cast their cares on you. Allow them not to get into negative thoughts. Allow their thoughts to be positive and show their light. Allow us not to be the same as people that are of this world, because how could people really tell the difference if you're complaining, if you're mad, and if you're upset, and you're very quick to be angry, just like anybody else in this world? How are people going to tell the difference? Allow God in Jesus' name pour into their hearts, fill them with the Holy Spirit, so they can show their light, and they can show the difference of what it is like to follow Christ in their life. So in the name of Jesus, I pray, allow everybody to be stewards of Christ and wear the armor of God and be blessed. In the name of Jesus, I pray, amen. So stay blessed, stay lit, and I'm out.